You're listening to the Sabrina Philipp podcast. This special bonus episode comes from a live stream that I did with my fiancé Paul, where we talked all about the coronavirus, online business, and our plans to future-proof our income. If you've been nervous about coronavirus and you're stockpiling on toilet paper and canned soup, put it down, girl, step back, take a breather, and listen to this episode. Oh, hey.
Hey.
It's us.
Hi.
Sabrina and Paul, here today. Fiancés.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take a second to share this video in a few places. While I do that, Paul is going to be pouring some champagne and breaking down for you what it is that we're talking about today.
Cool. So, we just want to have a quick chat about coronavirus, the impact it's having at the moment on travel, online business. We want to talk about, just what we're doing to prepare for our business and as well as for our clients, just kind of settling the score, I suppose, and giving a bit of an indication on some next steps, what you can do to implement right now, today in your business. That's really going to help kind of stabilize and grow things. So we're really excited about having this chat. We're currently in Scotland, so we're in the heart of the United Kingdom at the moment. A lot of European countries getting, the borders getting smaller and getting closed down. We have family in the US, we have family in Australia. So all of our travel plans are getting rearranged as we speak. And there just seems to be a lot of
Fear,
concern, panic, all on social media. So we really just wanted to jump on and just kind of share our thoughts and insights into what's happening at the moment. We also announced yesterday that in our event, Intentional Entrepreneur Live, has been postponed, with Florida banning all events of over 250 people. We were going to go to Ski Week next week.
Yeah, we were supposed to be in Austria next week and it got canceled. So, or not next week, in like a week.
Yeah, that's right.
A week.
That's what I'm saying, next week. Well, I get what you mean. So lots are changing at the moment. And so a lot of quick movements, big changes, and we really just wanted to kind of bring everyone together.
That's shared everywhere. So if you have an online business or if you have clients who have online businesses, go ahead and share this video because we want to make sure that it gets in the hands of the people who need it. But for us, I think what was really important today is we've seen a lot of fear and we've seen a lot of panic, and our response was completely the opposite. And so I think that is just a testament to our mindset. But I think also if you look at the nature of our economy, there really is no reason to be fearful right now if you do have a business that is primarily online. So for those of you who don't know, this is my fiance, we're getting married, and Paul actually has his own multiple six-figure online business, and he is working on multiple online course launches right now. One of them was a 300K launch. I think it just wrapped. One of them is about to launch. They're projecting that's going to be $1 million to multi-million-dollar online course launch.
Today was day one, actually, of that
launch. Oh, really?
Launch. Yeah.
That's exciting. So, Paul has his own multiple six-figure online business, but I think that Paul brings a unique perspective to this just because he did actually work for a company that was remote for a few years. And what we're going to be seeing over the next few months is a lot of companies are going to have their workers be working remotely. And my prediction is that because of that, one, we're going to see some long-term changes to the way that companies work. I think that they are definitely going to be allowing a lot more remote work to happen. I had all of my parents, my mom, my dad, my stepmom, all worked online from home growing up. So to me, it's very odd, this idea of like my parents going to the office. I always saw my parents working from home, but they were all pretty senior executives in their respective positions, so their companies gave them that flexibility. But now you have your low-level people, entry-level, junior staff, having to work from home. And so I think that's going to be a long-term shift that we're making, that companies are going to be making. We've already seen over the last 5 years that companies are making massive shifts to the way that they work with millennials because they want to be able to retain top talent. So they've started to get away with kind of cubicles. They're doing more of like open space, hot seat, office environment. There is a lot more benefits, a lot more flexible travel. because they want to hold on to those youngins.
Yeah.
But I think that with everything that's happening, what you're probably going to find is that your top talent is going to start moving toward online businesses. I think that this is the perfect environment for that to happen. And I think that's why we just wanted to talk about what our thoughts were around coronavirus. Obviously, it's super important to be mindful, right? We need to be community minded and not, individual and solo minded. You need to wash your hands if you are feeling sick. You do need to get tested, self-isolate. That being said, you do not need to be panicking and, freaking out and shutting down. If anything, this is the time, I think, to really be leaning in. I made a post about this on Instagram actually just a few minutes ago, but I've been seeing a lot of messages primarily directed toward, female online business owners saying that they should not be selling their services right now. And that just would never happen if it was a brick and mortar business or, Coca-Cola or a male-led company. And I think that there is this narrative when it comes to women specifically that, you have to be nice first, and you can't be nice and wealthy. You can't be nice and ambitious. It always comes back down to you've got to be nice. And it's like, well, right now the nice thing is for you to be thinking about your family and future-proofing your income.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to break down today is what we're doing for that, how you can be doing the same thing, and why now is not the time to be panicking when it comes to your online business.
Yeah.
So
I think in just kind of going off there when you, because I've seen some of those posts as well, where they're really targeting, it just seems like that segment of the market, the female business entrepreneurs, business owners,
the patriarchy in action.
Yeah, but one thing that you always talk about, which is quite a fascinating thing, you always talk about sales as a service. And I think like that's kind of what we need right now. In every kind of vertical that you are in, and whatever your business is in, you're acting as a service for someone else.
Well, I think that I'm going to go on a little feminist rant here for a second, but I think that like sales is automatically assumed to be icky and sleazy when it comes to women, but when Coca-Cola does it, or when IBM does it, or when a man does it, it's not sleazy. It's just like, go get them, boys. But as soon as women starts to do it, it's like, oh my gosh, why are you asking for money? That's so gross. That's so tacky. That's so sleazy. I was grown up and, raised to believe that talking about money was trashy. Like, you do not do that. I remember one time my sister and I were in line at Shake Shack, and she was like calculating, and she's like, oh, we can't get the Coca-Cola. We only have $20. And I was like so mad. I was like, Sophie, shut up. You can't talk about money out loud. Like, it just was not a thing. And so Feminist Rant ended. But I think it really is very important what Paul was saying, that sales is an act of service, because it should never, before coronavirus, after coronavirus, it should never ever come from a place of trying to like convince or force or push someone into something. The way that I teach sales is that sales is about helping people get more of what they want, right? It's not about helping them or forcing them to buy a product that they don't want, but helping them get more of what they want, which the women who hire me, they want to have successful, profitable online businesses.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always filling a need, If you have the skills, the capacity to fill their need or their desire, then that's the transaction, You're just facilitating that because you are the provider, the service provider. So in that sense, it's always, coming from an act of service.
And I think it's also just a good reminder that people aren't actually buying products, they're buying solutions. If you look at the accelerator, you're not buying 12 group coaching calls with Sabrina, 48 group coaching calls with a support coach. You're buying, the potential to start and grow your own 6-figure online business. With Sold Out Sales, you're not buying 6 videos and 6 workbooks. You're buying, the skill of sales. So I think that's also something important to remember here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So something we did want to talk about today is really the importance of being very adaptable to the market. Now, this is something that's important always, but it's especially important right now. So let's say, for example, that you are a health and wellness coach, or maybe let's say a personal trainer, a fitness coach. And typically what you do is you prepare workouts for your clients to go to the gym. And now you're finding that, let's say 70% of your client base does not feel comfortable or does not have access to a gym because they've been shut down. What do you do?
Yeah. And I've seen this come up so often, right? Because a lot of my friends are in that space. So It's just about not pivoting so much, but just being adaptable to the types of programs that you're creating. How can you keep people fit and healthy when they're in quarantine in a house, in a confined space?
If that were to happen, maybe they're not quarantined, maybe they just don't want to go to the gym, but there's always ways to be adaptable and modify your programs or services. So maybe you do at-home workouts. Maybe that's really what your marketing starts to focus on. Maybe you start to have Zoom sessions where people can come in and you actually work them out watching them, with at-home workouts. I think there's always ways to be adaptable in these situations, and the people who do that are really going to be the ones who succeed during this time.
Yeah, who lead the market.
Right.
If you are the one that's campaigning and being adaptable and still delivering a service, regardless of the context of that delivery, then I think you are going to attract even more people, and you get to set the tone. Then, you get to be the face of an industry that is in a bit of a shake-up, but you get to be like a pivotal member of that and kind of lead that and go, oh, well, look what, Sally is doing.
Let's talk about Blockbuster.
Okay, let's go.
So, this idea of being adaptable to the market, it's really important to remember that it's not just about the next few months and coronavirus. It is a long-term thing that is critical for all businesses. Why did Blockbuster fail? One of the biggest companies in the world at one point. I remember being a kid, we would go to Blockbuster on like Thursday or Friday nights. When you get to the front counter, you would get the bucket of popcorn and get the candies and put it in the bucket, put the movie in the bucket, and just waddle home with that. The biggest thing ever, why did it fail? They weren't able to adapt to the market. Yeah. Everyone started watching movies online and they just completely held out. Mm-hmm.
They actually had the opportunity to acquire Netflix, I think, at one stage.
Yes, they did, and they passed. Yep. I think it was $25 million.
Yeah, pennies.
At the time, Blockbuster would have been valued at multiple billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And they just laughed at the Netflix guys. They were like, you're insane. Like, this is never going to happen. And yeah, it's amazing how the market has shifted. When you think about what Netflix was first doing, they were mailing out DVDs.
Yeah.
And then once everything moved to streaming, they really focused on streaming, and all of these DVDs that they had, they just cut that out. That's no longer a service that's available.
Yeah.
It's only streaming content. When they started seeing a lot of competition from other platforms like Amazon Prime Video, Apple Plus TV is now out, Disney Plus, all of these different things, they really started to double down over the last few years on original content.
Yeah.
Right? So there's increasing adaptability to the market and giving people what they want. And that's why there shouldn't be this ickiness around sales at this time, because it's just about understanding that people's wants and desires are changing and shifting at the moment. It could be momentarily. I think it's going to be more long term.
For sure.
And so it's just about shifting and responding to that.
Yeah, I know, from the corporate side of things with, teams and companies going remote, that has been a kind of sticking point for most companies, because from an organizational change point of view, that is a nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare to try and, pivot your entire organization to remote work, having some people there, some people at home. And yet now, when they have a really clear-cut, we have to do this, it totally changes. Everyone has to get on board and it has to happen. So I think it's going to be quite a lasting transition where some teams actually won't come back into the office.
I don't think they will either. And I think also this is where it just comes down to being strategic. If companies are able to find that their workers are happier and more productive at home, which I think they will find.
Yeah.
And also they realize that they can cut costs by not having those big rental leases, then that's going to shift the marketplace.
Yeah.
But then I think this is where we need to start, everyone needs to be adaptable. So what happens when you have all of these huge office spaces that are no longer in use?
Yeah.
That needs to be modified. That needs to be adapted. So this concept of adaptability and entrepreneurship is never going to go away. I think that for the first time, though, a lot of online business owners are being confronted with that need for adaptability.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's ever been such a
shock.
Yeah, a shock in the market, right? Because if you look at online entrepreneurialism, it has exploded. The trajectory has been huge. And I mean, it's still only going to grow, but it's definitely in times like this, it is the absolute perfect business model to be kind of dipping into and leveraging. There is some talk of going into a recession, with the financial markets just
But what we find during recessions, though, is that entrepreneurship actually goes on the rise.
Exactly.
And baby making.
Oh, hello. But aside from all the baby making that's going to be happening in Italy and all the places at the moment,
entrepreneurship will be on the rise.
Yeah, because if there are people losing their jobs and having a hard time finding new clients in either brick and mortar businesses or traditional business models, they still have to provide for their family, and we see that.
That's the time to take. Yeah. That's the time to take the risk. I think that's also just the time to be creative. And if you have nothing to lose, why wouldn't you go for it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think there is then a lot of ambiguity in that, like a lot of unknowns. You know, when people are trying to break into the online business, market, there's just so many question marks. Right. When they hit that wall of like, how do I even sell? Like, what am I going to sell? How am I going to get clients and replace my income? And yeah, I think it's just, for a lot of people, it's quite uncharted territory. So in saying that, if you are in a position where you do, support that community, which a lot of you are, watching this video, that's when we're thinking you have nothing to worry about, really. You're
in a perfect position.
You couldn't be in a more perfect position right now than to lead that.
And I think we do obviously want to be really mindful and considerate and also supportive of the offline businesses who will inevitably struggle and potentially close because of this.
It's tragic.
It really is. And, Paul and I, we want to be doing our part. So we've been, buying gift vouchers to some of the restaurants that we really like.
That one in London.
Cricket.
That was a really cool thing, this restaurant we love sent out an email to their patrons saying that, look, times are about to get tough. If you want to, here is a gift voucher. You can buy it. It was like £250.
And you get 20% more.
And if you buy £250 or over, we'll apply an extra 20%, and you can use it within, was it the year or 2 years or something?
I think they said 3 years.
Oh, 3 years.
And so then when you feel comfortable going back out to restaurants, then you can go ahead and support that business, but you're giving them cash flow now. So
again, just super adaptable. Like, isn't that so entrepreneurial?
Adaptable, and also like, we're all in this together. We should be more supportive. I've seen so many. So we are currently in the Highlands of Scotland. Yeah. Cheers. That's why it's very like rustic at the moment. Our like bed is like covered in Scottish tartan and the drapes, but we're staying in Edinburgh at the moment, and we think we're going to go ahead and extend for two more months. So I follow all these Edinburgh Instagram accounts, and a lot of them have been advertising small shops like wine shops, cheese shops, even just like home goods, saying, if you don't want to come out, we will deliver to you. And that was just like so exciting for me, because I know that as soon as I get back, I feel comfortable going out personally, but I still have the way to support those small businesses even during this really challenging time. When we made the decision to reschedule and postpone the Intentional Entrepreneur Live, we knew that it was going to be a really challenging time for small business vendors and the events industry. So for us, it was really important that we let the small business vendors that we were working with know that our investments were safe with them. We didn't ask for any refunds. We let them know that we're rescheduling. They are still hired. We're still hiring them. Because we want them to have that security. So in any way that you can support offline businesses, do that. And also for your online business, this is a moment of opportunity. This is not a moment to be exploitative. You should not be marketing, I think, in a fear-based way, in a panic-based way. But I think that in all times, you should be marketing your services and selling from a very service-oriented, high-value, integrity-driven way. And that's something that we teach all the time. And how we sell isn't going to change during this time, but we're definitely not going to stop selling just because of what's going on.
As a perfect example, I didn't think about this before. We didn't talk about this before the live stream, but one of my clients sells or helps people, helps small businesses with their marketing, essentially. And regardless of if she has like a course or a program to help them, what she's doing is, just as free content, has now kind of ramped up her content calendar to do like three times more live streams every week. Just instead of doing one every Monday, she's now doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just to really just help that little bit more. Like, it doesn't really cost her anything. She's able to to kind of give that support to those small businesses in whatever capacity she can, again, to serve them. And it was a really beautiful thing when she sent that message, a Slack message. I thought, that's really awesome.
I love that. Yeah. And I think that's also just a good reminder, because the thing about the way that we teach sales is we don't teach cold calling. We would never say, like, just Actually, people don't know this. I was a telemarketer for a few months one summer in college. Did you know that?
I don't know if I did. You would have been good.
I was good, but the boys, it's very like annoying. The boys always made more because men trust men. Anyway,
Ew.
I was still decently good as a telemarketer, but it's super weird just like cold calling people and saying like, hi, are you a qualified investor? Because we would basically figure out if this person's qualified and then we get passed off and you'd sell them oil stocks or whatever. Anyway, we don't teach cold calling. What we teach in terms of sales is, attraction marketing, like value-based content, sharing valuable content online like this. Someone might see this and say, hey, I really like what they have to say about online business and sales. I want to work with them. That's what we teach. So doubling down on that, tripling down on that right now is amazing. It's such a good thing to do. Not only does it help others, it also could have the impact and should have the impact of increasing revenue for your business.
Yeah.
So let's do a thought exercise.
Sure.
We're in Edinburgh, which is the capital city of Scotland, for anyone who doesn't know. We're in Edinburgh, sitting by the fire, so excited, kissing, happy days. And then we get a news alert that Edinburgh is on lockdown and we can't leave the house for a month.
Mm-hmm.
How do we spend our time?
Playing Monopoly. No?
Yeah. Lots of Netflix.
Yeah.
Buy Netflix stock right now.
For sure.
But
right?
I don't think life would be too much different, to be honest.
For us, it wouldn't be any different. I think that...
And that's why you shouldn't be panicking. Right. Paul is very much like I think Paul would have a hard time because he has like cabin fever. Paul can't be in one place for like 2 hours before he stresses out. Yeah. Like he needs to be like out moving,
run
doing
free
things.
in the wilderness. Send me out in the wildlife.
Let him go. Whereas I could not leave my house for 3 years and I would be just fine.
I know you would be packed
up. This is the idea of me being locked up with Paul for a month. I was teasing him about it today. I was like, that's your worst nightmare. I'm so excited.
Quite accurate, actually. Quite accurate.
Literally your worst nightmare. Very, if needed, obviously we would do it in the interest of public health. But I think that from a business perspective, it's not really going to impact our business because we already work remotely. We have, 30, 32 team members, whatever it is, who all work around the world remotely from home anyway. So nothing really is going to change in terms of how we operate our business.
Yeah, I think all of our
personal life would be impacted, but not our business life.
For sure. All of our team calls are done remotely. They're over Zoom, without having a fixed office.
Yeah. We
communicate over Slack. So the infrastructure of the business is already set up. We already have that in place.
Right. And I think also the other thing, one of the things we talk about in Sold Out Sales and in all of our coaching programs is the need to establish monthly recurring revenue. Yeah. And so our monthly recurring revenue comes through our online coaching programs and courses, which will in no way be impacted by coronavirus.
Yeah.
Right. So that I think is also just a really important thing to note, that our income will not be impacted by this situation, which is why we are so passionate about online business. Now, I think that Paul and I are very different in many ways. I'm obviously much cooler than he is.
And I'm a lot smarter.
Oh.
So. No, I'm not. She's the smart one.
But beyond that, I would say that my drive and reason for online business is very much female empowerment driven. I think that it's also very much driven by my passion for travel and seeing the world.
Yeah.
That is like the thing for me. Help other women do whatever the fuck they want while I do whatever the fuck I want. That's my side of things. I think that for Paul, it's very much more about discipline, working your little face off, work until you die, go, 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 go.
You just
work,
don't
work,
get it.
work.
That is not the case.
You just want to work as hard as you can.
Oh my gosh.
And so, looking at my cool side of things, my ability to do whatever I want and travel wherever I want might be impacted in the short term, but my true mission, our stated mission of our company, is to empower women through entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. I think that we will help more women in this time than we may ever help, just at a rate, because I think there's going to be such an interest in women starting online businesses, finding remote work online, being freelancers online. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, there's a lot of people who are saying you shouldn't be selling your services online, and our response to that was basically selling as an active service. Why would we not get out there and help the people that we're here to help? That just doesn't make sense.
I think too if we look at the last financial crisis or recession back in 2008, the internet and the capacity of technology then was so different.
So limited compared to now.
You're just streaming videos and having a team of 30 people on a Zoom call was just impossible. You couldn't do it.
I think also just before I forget this thought, how we connect has changed.
Yeah.
Connection looks different. Paul and I met at a co-working space. Co-working was not a thing back then.
Yep.
Paul was like sending me lots of messages like, "Hey baby, can I have your number?" Just kidding. But he was like sending me messages like, "Let's go on a coffee date." And the only reason I went out with him is because we were in multiple Facebook groups together.
Yeah.
Right?
There was one. I think there was one main one that we're in that was
the social media one.
Yeah,
but
and
also you were in the co-working one.
Yeah.
The Rome one.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, he must be okay, not a creep. Anyway, but like that's changed. WhatsApp, FaceTime, the way you stay connected with your family, it's just so completely different. People are always joking about how if you actually like phone someone on the telephone, you must be like a serial killer.
Yeah, that is.
Like, who does that?
It is a little bit weird.
I'm very old school. I love a good old telephone call, but like people just don't expect that anymore. It's very much text messages. 97% of text messages are read within 3 minutes. Here's another fun fact. They estimate that by 2030, 2 billion workers will be working remotely. So it's not just independent online entrepreneurship. It's also just the nature of these really large companies who are going to be moving online, not only as the market adapts, not only as technology adapts, but I think also as connection adapts.
And I think, so this is a really good point to leverage off or to get in the next conversation. Because of that, I see what some of these business owners, online business owners, are posting on their profiles, their social media. I think at all stages, the content that you publish online should really resonate with your brand and your mission, and should align with your values. It is quite easy in times of this, really kind of fear-mongering, this distressed state that we see to kind of join in on the hype. We see it a lot as well in...
Look at the toilet rolls.
Yeah,
It's just this like mob mentality, bandwagon mentality. It's the way community and people work. We don't want to shame those people. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing, but they're doing it because they see other people freaking out, so they freak out. And so I think that's just a really good example of someone not being conscious of their thoughts and mirroring the situation that's presented to them instead of using their thoughts to control the situation that's in front of them.
Yeah, and just I like the term respond as opposed to react. If you take the time to respond rather than reacting, you'll find that it's just a lot more resonant with your inner voice, and you're able to kind of keep that brand value really high vibe.
For sure. And I think that's needed right now. We need positive high vibe leaders.
Yeah. So we're not like dismissing any of the severity of this at all, but what we're saying is that the way that you show up online could be, you could put a lot more thought into that,
right?
Before kind of reacting and putting out that content, because in the long run, it's your brand, it's your services that are...
I will say this. If I have seen someone post a super panicky post on their social media and I was interested in their services before, I'm suddenly turned off by that person because I see their panic and fear, and
I wanted to say that, but I didn't know if I can say that.
We can say that.
Okay, then.
People know we have good hearts.
Yeah,
they'll know we have good
hearts. That's what I'm trying to help. I was just thinking,
Well, I say the same thing when it comes to messy vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
If you're just super shit show on the internet without an actual lesson, without a tangible golden nugget that people can learn from, you just look like a mess. You don't look like a leader. And then the people who would have been interested in your services look at you and they say, well, she's a bit of a mess, right? Because all of us are going to have messy moments, but it's about how we share those things, right? All of us have our own individual fears and feelings and concerns and nervousness around coronavirus, but it's how we present that as business owners.
Like Brene Brown.
Right.
The
love
perfect
Brene.
example. Perfect
love
example.
Brene Brown.
Right? Super messy and is just super vulnerable and shares it in such an eloquent way that always has a lesson. And it's always true for her.
What do you call a roadie? What do you call someone who's with a band and follows them around?
I think we call them roadies.
Is there another word for that?
Groupies?
A groupie. I would be a Brene Brown groupie.
Yeah.
I would just follow her around.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, right? She seems like a leader. She is someone that I admire and respect and look to for teachable moments.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be a groupie for her. Whereas if she was just messy to be messy, I would just be like,
yeah,
tragic.
I get it. Yeah.
Put up the caution tape. So I think that mindset is important in all situations, but I think now especially it is.
Yeah.
I think that there is a balance between mindset and also just spiritually bypassing the situation. I think we do need to be mindful that, in our opinion, coronavirus is very real. It is definitely something that is going to have long-term political, economic, health impacts on our communities, and we don't minimize that at all. We're going to do our part to support local small businesses, our families, our communities, and for our online business and our family, we are going to future-proof our income. And this is not something that starts now. This is something that has been happening for 4 years. We're just going to use this opportunity. I think what we should be doing right now is doubling down on our marketing efforts.
For sure.
I think we should be building out online courses specifically targeting and adjusting our sales plan, adaptability, adjusting our sales plan to really be promoting offers that help people start online business, first-time business owners.
For sure.
Helping people with sales, because now more than ever, sales is critical. If you do not know how to sell your offer, you're going to miss out, right? We say that this is such an opportunity, but if you don't know how to actually sell what you want to sell, it's not really going to do anything for you.
Yeah, you can have the best service, and you could be the best graphic designer in the world, you know?
The best. Yeah. But if you don't know how to market your services on social media, or you don't know how to close a sales call, you don't know how to price your offers, you don't know how to raise your offers, it's not going to mean anything. If you do want to learn more about that, I'm going to be leading a free live stream series next week, every day for 5 days. I'm going to be going live and talking about the top sales mistakes that entrepreneurs make and how to shift them. So if you do want to sign up for that, it's completely free. I'll grab the link and I'll drop it down below. But sales is so important at this time.
For sure, you know, because everyone needs income, you know, to support their families and to sustain their businesses. So it's all still going to go round. It's just about being able to position yourself in front of the ideal clients that you want to work for.
Whoops, that was the wrong link. Ignore that link.
Okay.
Ignore.
We'll ignore that link.
Ignore.
So we've had a lot of people jumping in the comments. Let me know your thoughts at the moment.
What are your thoughts on coronavirus? What are your thoughts on your online business in coronavirus? What questions do you have for us? Let me delete that first link.
Yeah, would love to hear what's been happening in your country, where you are too. You know, we have a very global brand. You know, we have family in different countries. We ourselves travel everywhere. So specifically to your country and your business, what's been happening? What's the latest, and what are you doing?
We've had some messages.
Yeah.
Dylan says there's fear and concern been feeling that how everyone may cooperate and just kind of like support this effort. I think that's a really real concern.
Yep.
Karen says this is a global opportunity to heal our planet. I just spent a few hours with the astrology and it's time, totally. Julia says she loves the concept of adaptability. Michelle says fabulous, so many new ideas that benefit people will be born through crisis. Jason asks, how are you going to support yourselves? Do you have enough money? So that's something I've also seen a lot of posts about, just like stockpiling cash, because there's obviously a lot of fear that the effects of the coronavirus outbreak will trigger a recession.
Yeah, and that's, I think, the idea of hoarding cash, I think that's correct me if I'm wrong, but my intuition was that is more of an American feeling. Like, we don't have that in Australia. Like, if we were in the same kind of thing, no one in Australia is thinking, I'm going to pull my money out of the banks and go and put it into my mattress. But I know,
they're pulling out toilet rolls though.
They're pulling out. Yeah, we're selling toilet rolls. That's for sure. But that's a good point.
For anyone who doesn't know what that is, we call them toilet paper. Americans, we wouldn't even say toilet paper rolls, just toilet paper. They call it toilet rolls.
Yeah, because they're rolls of toilet paper.
Yeah, so it's toilet paper.
Yeah, but toilet rolls.
Anyway, we will not be stockpiling cash. We obviously have a lot of cash on hand from our business. We do have a multiple 7-figure business. But the thing is, we ultimately have monthly recurring revenue in our business.
Yeah, the infrastructure was there before coronavirus came. So
right. It's not that we need to like suddenly make a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
We don't need to radically pivot because our business was built to like sustain and survive situations like this, which is why I do think it is so important that we're all really adaptable with our business and we do start to make the move online.
Yeah.
So thank you for the question, Jason. But how we support ourselves, it's not going to be much different than what we're currently doing. We might make a few strategic pivots in terms of what we offer, how we market, or how much we market. But ultimately things are pretty much staying the same. And I think that is really important for anyone who's an online business owner to know now is not the time to panic.
Yeah.
Karen says, COVID-19 is the opportunity to show business schools and others that online tech is the future, brick and mortar is on the way out. We also have a question from Syra, and she says, when does the cart for sold out sales close, and how is it different from the intentional, manageable, and profitable program? So the original intentional, manageable, profitable program was retired a few years ago. It's now known as the IMP Accelerator. The IMP Accelerator is a 6-month group program. It has a training vault of 18 training recordings. It has twice weekly 1-hour group coaching calls with the support coach and twice monthly 90-minute group coaching calls with me. There's also a special Facebook group. You get tickets to iLive, tickets to Accelerator event. Obviously, those things are being rescheduled at the moment with the coronavirus. But it's a 6-month, completely comprehensive group program to help you scale to 6 figures. Sold out sales is much more specific and targeted. It does, I will say though, have much more sales information than the Accelerator does, which is why a lot of our IMP Accelerator girls are actually signing up for sold out sales. So sold out sales doors close March 23rd, Monday, March 23rd. So in about 11 days, maybe 10 days, 10 days, I think. It's 6 modules. It has video trainings, workbooks, a Facebook group where I'll be doing live coaching, and it's all about sales. So we talk about things like how to create an offer, how to price an offer, how to raise your rates, how to track your leads, how to follow them up, how to do a sales call. We talk about sales mindset. We talk about sales processes. So a lot of people don't actually know what a sales process is or have it mapped out. We also talk about like hiring a sales team, when that is the right thing to do, what that should look like. So Sold Out Sales is an online course. It is $14.97 or 12 biweekly payments of $147, whereas the Accelerator is a $7,500 investment. So much, much different. If you are trying to pick one to get started with, I do recommend Sold Out Sales because that is the program that will help you make money to be able to invest in something bigger down the road, whether that's one of our coaching programs or someone else. But what I like to tell people who've asked me about the program is, if you only make 1 sale, 2 sales, you've, double, tripled your investment back. So
easily.
Very different. Really good question though, Syra. So Michelle, I don't see the questions on the laptop, so I'll get them on the phone. Michelle says, I'm in Spain. In the south, the beaches are closed, and from today, as from Monday, we have to stay at home unless food shopping or medical visits. The feeling is really surreal, but still calm. Supermarkets are emptying quickly. I totally see that people are going to be more open to online opportunities. It has helped people step out of their comfort zone for sure. Definitely. And we've been talking about if we think that's going to happen in Scotland, and I think it will.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's inevitable. 100% it's going to happen. So when we get back down to Edinburgh, because we're up in the Highlands at the moment, we're going to just be putting in some measures, kind of stocking up on a few bits and pieces.
Yeah, not because it's panic buying, but just because we don't want to be caught out in a quarantine situation without those things.
Quite frankly, I think it's the most responsible thing to do.
Yes.
Like, why would we want to put other people at risk just because we feel like going and getting...
We feel safe. We feel totally fine. But the mothers of small children, the immunocompromised people, the elderly, like, why would we put them at risk?
Yeah, for sure.
So we're going to do our part. We hope that you'll do your part as well. Regina says, I own Rise event production by Coastal out of USA. March and April events were canceled completely a few days ago, so those months are completely leveled and naturally many more on the chopping block. It is not a great time for event production as it literally requires humans gathering in groups. I've been thinking of developing a more digital footprint for probably about a year now. I'm finding myself pivoting to build that piece out now, just a matter of development. I'm thinking courses on event planning, courses on event production and design, courses on weddings specifically, deciding if I want to market it towards DIY folks, not hiring planners or entrepreneurs or both. Mostly, I just need to organize the production of it all and then implement step by step. Advice on all of it. Yes. Let me just grab your name really quickly. Regina. Okay, Regina. So a few different things. So I think you are right on the money here and really wise to go ahead and pivot at the moment. I also, we work with event planners. Our events team is obviously feeling a little bit stuck at the moment just because not only are their events getting canceled, but also they don't expect to be booking very many events in the near future. So I think that making a pivot at the moment is going to be really important. I think the other thing that you could also be talking about that I'm not seeing a lot of other people talking about is virtual events. I think that is something that is going to be more common over the next several months and then also long term because it doesn't have the massive cost of an in-person event. But it can still make an impact. And I think that there's a lot of, there's a misconception around virtual events that they just can't be as impactful or as profitable. So if you come out swinging and say that's not the case, here's how to structure an online event in a way that does really lead to sales, that can be very profitable for your brand or business, I think that's something that would help you stand out. In terms of the event planning side of things, I think that if you are going to do with DIY, go with DIY wedding planning, I would be focusing a lot on blogging and I would be linking those blog posts to Pinterest. So Pinterest is huge for new brides. They are going searching for wedding planning. If you have a blog post that links to your website and then you get them onto your email list and pitch them into your course, they're now in your sales funnel and you are good to go. I think that definitely courses on event planning are going to be a really great thing. The only thing is I don't see a lot of people jumping into that industry brand new. If you did want to do maybe some sort of higher level event planning mastermind for people who are currently in the space just to advance their skills, that could work. My only fear is that they might be short on the cash to actually invest in that program. Yeah, I think that DIY retreat planning for like small business owners who don't necessarily want like big staging, AV, things like that, but just, 10 women together in like an Airbnb or a hospitality suite at a hotel, that's definitely something I would be interested in looking at. And I think that for everyone, we're probably going to see an increase in podcast listeners, and I think we're going to see an increase in online course usage just because, God forbid, we do, or some of us do get quarantined, some of us already are, then I think that is definitely going to be happening because people have so much more free time.
Yeah, for sure. And I also think that in the event space for people planning their own events, things like, like guides, checklists kind of thing to run through. So, a cookie cutter 2-day event, so to speak, like what does someone need to address and how can they do this event on their own? I think that is invaluable, especially for people who haven't put on their events before. That could be a really beautiful gateway into your product suite.
Yeah, I think also the thing is like we know that this will end and that we will be hosting events again. So if you did put out a lot of content saying that you could negotiate with event spaces on behalf and get us really great rates because of this, that I think is something that would hook in people who are a little bit higher level.
And similarly to what our restaurant was doing, if you crowdfunded some capital from people to say, hey, look, if you invest $1,000 in me now, you can return that at $3,000 worth in 2021 kind of thing.
I think there's just a difference though between like what her rates are versus what the actual rate of the like hotel or event space is. So it would depend on how she did that, but I think that could be a possibility. Where I would be focusing my time, Regina, like we said, definitely online courses. So DIY wedding planning, hooking that up to Pinterest, I think. Doing a YouTube channel right now could potentially be really great. I think that if you could be marketing virtual summits, online events, things like that, that would also be really great. Growing your email list, but just really positioning yourself to succeed on the other side of this.
Yeah.
I think that's where the real win is here. And I think that just kind of goes back to one of our original points, which is the idea of adaptability to the market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. We went through all our talking points.
We did. We nailed it.
And I think we got all the questions too.
Excellent.
So in sum, in summary, what do you have to say?
Don't panic.
Don't panic.
For your business. Be vigilant, with your personal life.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Which you should have been doing
Yeah,
already.
you sickos, just wash your bloody hands. With the online business and entrepreneurialism is just going to flourish, I think, in a time like this. If
as
you can,
hard as it is to say, like as sad as it is, just because of what's going to happen to small businesses.
Oh, you didn't let me finish that because I was going to come through with like a really sweet thing. Like my heart like breaks for small business owners out there that are just going to crumble and won't be able to make it through these next few months. Like my family was always a small business owner, so my dad. So I know the heartbreak of losing a family business, right? So
yeah,
I definitely feel for that. And also, as going back to this selling as an act of service, with so many of these stupid posts I'm seeing around telling women not to be selling during this time, like it is just ridiculous.
It is.
Like it makes me so angry.
One, patriarchy in action. Yeah. Two, bad fucking business advice. Very bad business advice. You should be selling all the time. Coca-Cola
with integrity,
but the thing is, with integrity always.
Sure.
It's not that suddenly we have to be nice about selling because of coronavirus. You should always be nice about it. You should always be with integrity. It should always be an act of service. So if you're doing life right, nothing should really change right now.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
If something that I also think about is like all the people. Yeah.
If you're doing life right, nothing should change.
There we go. Also, here's what I'm thinking about: all the people in corporate who are going to be laid off.
Yeah.
Not even the people in corporate who suddenly work from home and they're like, this sucks, I want to be my own boss. Mm-hmm. But all of these people who very unfortunately from tourism industries, events industries, things like that, airline industries, who are going to be laid off. If you have an offer or a program that can help them, now is the time. It's your right, like it's your service, like you have to. Like it's just you would selling is literally hurting these people. So I had a group coaching call this week and I had a client who had a mindset block around selling. And so I asked her, do you think that your program, that the women who take your program are better on the other side of it? And she said yes. And I said, okay, do you think that if everyone in the world took this program, the world would be a better place? And she said yes. And I said, okay, so why the heck do you have a mindset block and think that selling is sleazy and that getting paid for your work is wrong if it literally makes the world a better place? And so, thanks, babe. He just poured me a little glass of champagne. I appreciate him so much. But that's something to really remember when it comes to sales. If you are serving from a heart-centered place and you're trying to help others and your program literally helps, why would selling be wrong? I think that how you sell is very important. We always teach about selling in integrity and selling from a heart-centered place and, getting compensated for your work and helping people get more of what they want. But yeah, it blows my mind. Our stated mission, like our written mission on the walls of Team Sabrina, is to empower women through entrepreneurship. That guides us in everything that we do. That guides us in the charities that we choose to donate and sponsor. We are corporate sponsors for 2 charities, Bali Children's Project, because we lived in Bali for 3 years. That's where we met. So that provides school children with education, backpacks, books, renovate schools and libraries, and She's the First, which helps women in developing countries go to high school and graduate college. It influences everything that we do. It influences the way we structure our programs, live events. Live events can suck a lot of money out of a business. Ours happen to be very profitable because we are pretty good at sales. But our mission is to bring women together through entrepreneurship. It literally guides everything. Why would we stop that right now? Yeah. Why? That would be the most selfish thing that we could do right now. And I think that's where there's a lot of fear, just like people blasting you on social. But blast me on social. I'm here to help. I don't really care.
Yeah, that's right. Like, I'll take that any day.
Yeah. Regina says, I've never built a digital course. Would love a lesson on how to develop content and what the best platforms are to use to develop and launch on. Go follow Paul on social media. He has so many video trainings on this. I'll go link his Facebook page if you want to give like a quick lesson, because that's such a big conversation. But I will go link his Facebook page because he is literally the online course expert.
So super quickly, the 2 biggest platforms to use, like don't worry about the platform yet, stuff that. The first thing you need to work out is what you're going to teach, like who you're helping and what you're going to help them with. That's it. So think about what problems they have, how you're going to help them with those problems, And then what are the incremental steps for you to get them from point A to point B? That's it. That's your course structure. That's your lesson. What steps do they need to take to solve that problem?
Yeah.
That's an online course. That's Education 101. In terms of platforms, just try Thinkific is probably the best one it is the best one. Go with Thinkific. You'll always be safe and sound. And never build a course unless you've sold it first. So make sure you have people enrolled and paying for your course. That way you know that people want it, and then you can go and film all the content.
Totally. So Regina has a follow-up question. She says, 2 immediate ideas I have on sales now is 1, virtual event planning. Love that. 2, crisis management for early 2020 brides who I see freaking out right now. My only worry is that spending may be down for the second if those couples' income are at risk. Then they're going to DIY, which is so not a time to DIY that communication with your vendors, venues, guests, etc. So this is a very good example of where if you know how to sell properly, that wouldn't be an issue. Because the thing is, sometimes people have a problem that they're not even aware of, or they don't necessarily know how to address the right way. So in this case, they know they have a problem. The problem is that their wedding venue or their wedding vendors may be canceling either because of forced or personal choice due to the coronavirus outbreak, and these brides don't know how to respond. Your job as a salesperson is to educate your audience on how to respond appropriately to those problems, and that response, that appropriate response, is your program, your solution, right? So for example, for us right now, we're working on educating people about how important sales is to the health of your online business, and our solution is our program, Sold Out Sales. So in your case, for example, you see all of these brides freaking out. Your job through your messaging and positioning, we talk about that in the program, is to really communicate to the right way to your brides that now is not the time to be DIYing. You have to educate them that that's the wrong thing to do and let them know what is the right thing to do. Maybe the right thing is just to work with an event planner. In our case, for example, our event planner handled everything. She really was amazing, stepped in, our events team, and they are getting the event rescheduled. Perfect. Us trying to DIY it, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, no.
Because there's like A and B, there's staging, there's the actual venue, there's food and beverage, photographers, videographers, flower wall, florists, like the print for the like name tags and badges, like it's just so much. So we know that, but they don't know that. And I think that's also just a good time to figure out, like, for each program you do have a different ideal client, and just communicating with them in the right way. So if they haven't DIY'd it so far, they shouldn't be DIYing it now. And if they have DIY'd it so far, this is definitely not the time to be doing that.
Yep, good call.
Okay. Want to take me on a date?
Yes. Let's go on a date.
All right, guys. We are going to tap out. Thanks for joining us. Like I said, I'll be going live every day next week. I'm doing free video trainings on the 5 biggest mistakes that I see new entrepreneurs make as it relates to sales and how to shift them. I'll drop the link for that. It's totally free. Go ahead and register. If you for sure know that you want help with sales and just to improve your sales skills during this time and always, go ahead and sign up for Sold Out Sales. I think y'all will love that program. It's going to be so fun. I'll get the link for Sold Out Secrets, the free training series.
And it's all going to be okay.
It's all going to be okay.
Like, it is all going to be okay.
It was always going to be okay.
Yeah. You think about all the other hardest things you've ever got through, you know, that happened to you in your life, you're still here, right? Like, as hard as it was, here you are.
I love that quote, like, if it's always okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end.
Yep.
So of course it's going to be okay on the other side of this. And that just goes back to mindset. Like, whatever you decide to be true will be true.
Yep.
And also, if you decide it's going to be the worst thing ever and your business is going to crumble, you're going to stop selling, you're going to stop showing up on social media, you're going to self-sabotage sales calls, and guess what? Your reality will reflect your thoughts, which is why we talk about sales mindset and Sold Out Sales.
And you perpetuate that
for sure
to your circles, which is not what a good leader should be doing.
But if you choose to see this as a moment of opportunity, a moment of creativity, a moment of adaptability,
and where support, where you can help people, like, far out, you could do so much more.
You will come out stronger on the other side of this.
And everyone who follows you or in your audience or network or clients will come out stronger as well. So be the leader. Like,
what's the saying? Like, no grit, no diamond.
Ooh, I like that one.
Or no pressure, no diamond. Because like a diamond is like a piece
Sounds
of
like
coal
a
under.
Beyonce quote.
Yeah, but a diamond comes from a piece of coal under immense pressure.
And heat.
Sure, whatever. Anyway, that's the thing here.
Yep.
Okay, guys, we're literally diamonds in the making. Okay,
Yep.
this is the pressure.
A lot of pressure.
This is the heat. We're gonna
Yep.
be fine. Fucking diamonds on the other side of it.
Exactly. That's
Cheers
a good
to
analogy.
that.
Cheers.
I love you guys. Bye, everyone.
Bye.